Hello everyone, my name is Dawn. Thank you for joining me today as I set up my bullet journal for December. As usual, we'll do a quick little flip through of last month and just have a quick chat about what worked and maybe what didn't work so well. So, going back to November, I wanted to use my diamond inks to make this autumnal theme. It worked pretty well overall. I really did feel the lack of pages. I only had a few pages to use because we're coming towards the end of this journal and I knew I wanted to save a few for December. So it could have worked out better. But overall, it got the job done. It was okay. So this month I wanted a distinctly more Christmassy feel. And I had some bits and bobs that I've been collecting throughout the year to use in my setup. But I'm starting off by drawing out my calendar boxes. I'm having a slightly larger calendar this month because I have a few events and December gets pretty busy for everybody, doesn't it really? So I'm just allowing myself a little bit more space. I believe my boxes are 5 by 5 grid spaces, something like that. So I'm using my new fountain pen from Ferris Press. There will be a unboxing video of my latest fountain pen hauls very soon coming to the channel, so please do keep an eye out for that. And this pen is inked up with Misguided Mistletoe, which is also an ink from Ferris Press. And it's a really beautiful dark green shade with a gold glitter shimmer. The pen has a medium nib, so I'm not worried about it getting blocked or the shimmer causing any issues with the function of the pen. I will be washing it out fairly regularly just to make sure that it's okay. And I'm just having a little look to check which day the last month ended, so I didn't make the same mistake with this calendar as I did with my last one by starting on the wrong day. Luckily this month starts on a Monday, which most people enjoy if you start your calendars Monday through to Sunday. It's quite satisfying having the start of the month beyond the start of the week. So I'm just numbering in the little boxes. The pen I'm using, as I said, is from Ferris Press and it's a Joule pen. It's really beautifully weighted and I really love it. So now we've got the calendar done, we can start to look at the decorations. So you may have noticed, looking at the background there, that I have some Christmassy wrapping paper. It's a tissue paper and I have some in the dark shades that you see in the background and also this red. So the red shade has like fir branches and robins, little birds on, and the darker paper has hares and also robins on. So I've kind of have an idea of where I want to place these papers. So I'm tearing off a corner piece and I'm just making sure that there's going to be enough space to show my calendar at the bottom there. This tissue paper was pretty tricky to work with. It's the first time I'm using tissue paper in my journal, and it kind of it wanted to tear in one direction and then it just did not want to tear in the other direction. It's almost like it had a ply to it, or a pile, as you would say in fabric. So it was a little bit difficult to tear, but I wanted those torn edges to have that more kind of natural, relaxed, organic look. So I'm just playing with the placement and smoothing it all down, using my tape glue just to glue everything down and making sure everything's in the right place. So I don't know about you, I'm quite excited about December being here. I know it seems really strange because the year doesn't seem that long. It's like, seems like only yesterday really that it was June. It's crazy. But on the whole, I love December. It is my birthday month as well as Christmas or Yuletide. So it's has a special place in my heart. So I just cut a little section off to give a little Dutch door, half waterfall tabby effect. And I just was checking that I haven't cut too much off to do what I want to do on the next page, because that's often a danger, isn't it, when you're cutting away pages in your bullet journal. If you're not planning very well, you can end up cutting part of your plan away on the opposite side or the other side of the page. So I was just checking that. Then I'm using a strip of this darker tissue paper, almost as a thick washi tape effect, and I'm just laying it down beside the calendar at the edge of that page that I've just cut. So the idea being that I'll have a strip of this darker tissue paper in the front and then a strip of the red behind, and it'll give a nice little Dutch door effect. So using my trusty red scissors, I'm trimming off all the excess. Again, tissue paper was really tricky to cut. I don't know if it's because it's so thin or just the way it lies, or maybe it's my scissors. It did not want to cut. It was really a bit of a challenge to use. So I thought it would be easy because it's so thin. So I'm adding a piece of washi tape, which is from a set. It's like a forest trees and greenery foliage set. I believe you can get it from, I think they have it in Journal, say, definitely on Amazon if you want the set. And it's just a little row of fir trees. Dead cute. I wanted something to fill that gap in. And I have my December header just above that tape. So I'm just tearing the edge of the tape off, again, just to give it a more relaxed and organic feel. And now I'm going in with my Eddings gold gel pen, and I'm going to do a spot of Copperplate Calligraphy. I'm going to try anyway. I have been practicing a little bit, not as much as I should, but it actually came out alright. So we're watching this in normal speed, and then I do speed up just to fill in the rest of the letters, because the pen is like, I think it's an 05 or an 08, 05 or 08, and I just wanted it to look a little bit thicker, so I decided to go over all the letters and just thicken that line up. So we're doing monoline calligraphy here. So I'm not necessarily thinking about having thicker strokes on the down and lighter strokes on the up strokes, as you would with normal calligraphy or standard calligraphy. I'm just thickening the lines up throughout. so it's a little bit bolder and more visible, because there's quite a lot going on in the page. There's quite a lot of heavy design weight, so we don't want that header to get lost. My cat Pikachu has just joined me while I'm doing this voiceover, so if you hear any aggressive purring, he's in quite a good mood, so it'll be him. So we finish off the rest of that header and add a little descender on the M. So I'm pleased with how this calligraphy turned out. It's probably the best so far, which I guess is what you're aiming for with practice, isn't it? Your latest rendition should be the one you like the most, really. So I felt we needed something at the top of the page, and I found this striped washi tape that was from a Christmas set. Again, I think you can get it from Stationery Pal, Journal, say, or Amazon. I can pop a link to everything down in the description box. And I felt these side spaces looked a little bit empty. I hadn't really planned what I was going to do with them as I was building the page, so I thought it might be nice to put some Christmas stars just scattered around. So these are 8 pointed stars, and this was just how it kind of made sense to me to get the proportions the way that I wanted, to get them looking right. So I'm drawing basically a large cross, and the horizontal bar of the cross is a little bit higher than center. And then through the center, I'm drawing an X. So each of these will be arms of the cross, as we're doing an 8 pointed, or arms of the star I should say, as we're doing an 8 pointed star. And I think originally I was thinking of just going quite simple with these stars. So I'm just adding a few smaller stars and sparkles all around, just to fill the space a little bit. Adding one down in this space between the header and the calendar. And yeah, originally I was thinking about just leaving them as simple kind of line work stars. But then I thought, oh, what if we make them a little bit fancier? So I do decide to go in and thicken up each of the arms and make them more chunky, I guess you could say. So there's a little bit more detail in the crosses, and they do look a little bit, they give more impact on the page, I would say. So I will say, drawing them this way with the line work first, it made it really easy to just keep the proportions nice and kind of well rounded. it was a great starting point. Kind of unintentional, but it turned out that everything was kind of in the right place, which is what you want, really. I think this is the first time I'm drawing these types of stars, possibly. Can't remember. So I am quite pleased with how this spread turned out. It wasn't, well, it was kind of half planned, I guess, and then just the additional elements. I knew where the paper pieces were going to go. I just wasn't sure about filling in the other spaces, and obviously I knew the header and the shape of the calendar, so yeah, most of it was planned. It was just the finer details that I added on. So we're on to the next page. It's a new day, and I'm using another ink from Ferris Wheel Press. This one is Wondrous Winterberry, and I'm using my dip pen. This is the trackers spread that we're working on. So I'm using my dip pen to draw out my large tracker table, and this is the table I use every month. It's pretty much always in the same configuration now because it works for me, and this is where I have a huge mishap that can sometimes happen if you're using a dip pen. So this was totally my fault. I was trying to use the lid of the ink bottle as an inkwell, and it wasn't deep enough, so I was trying to scoop the ink up and ended up with too much ink in the dip pen, and I couldn't see it because it had gone right up into the nib, so I had a big splodge that came out all at once. But it's okay, don't panic, because I found a way to make it work. And then, again, this is another great lesson for using your journal. Something inevitably will go wrong at some point. It's not all going to go to plan, particularly when you start out. So you have to learn to cover up mistakes. So I decided that I'd use a small brush, paintbrush, and just highlight every other line with the same ink. And this part of the table is my habit tracker, and that's where I'll be listing all my habit titles. So see, it worked out. It all worked out in the end. It was fine. No need to panic. So I knew I definitely wanted to use this hare that's featured on this darker paper in this corner. So I'm just tearing off the edges just to make sure it fits, and then going in with my glue tape, gluing along the edge of where I want it initially, and then fold back and glue directly onto the page to make sure it goes straight up to the edges of the pages. And yeah, it did tear a little bit when I was trying to tear it across, because again, like I said earlier, if you're tearing in a certain direction, it doesn't like it, doesn't want to do it. Very naughty. So I'm just adding another strip just to fill in the rest of the side of the page, the left hand side of the page. Apologies for the journal being out of frame here. I didn't realise. I should have checked. That's on me. But just take my word for it that that strip goes all the way down to the bottom of the journal, and you will see in a moment when we move the book up. So again, trimming off, and it was a little kind of easier to cut if there were two layers together, like if you were cutting the front and the back of the page, if there was paper on it, that worked a little bit better. But yeah, it was still a bit annoying. Naughty paper. There we go. See, that strip goes all the way down to the bottom. And you didn't see, but as if by magic, a piece of that fir tree washi tape has appeared along the bottom of the journal. So I must have put that up in out of frame. So now I'm working on this strip to go along the right hand side, and I'm framing it up because I didn't want any of the robins to show. I just wanted it to be red and foliage. So I've lined it up, folded it in half, and I'm using a ruler here just to get a torn line but fairly straight. That makes sense. And then we'll glue it down to the edge of that page. That's it. So yeah, it's pretty effective having the two strips of paper on with the Dutch door. Looks pretty nice. And I'm putting another piece of that striped washi tape along the top just to tie it all together, just to keep the theme cohesive and also fill in space at the top. And I'm taking my Joule fountain pen and just putting in the numbers and the dates for the tracker at the top. This is my pain, fatigue and sleep tracker. I have chronic fatigue, so I like to track how my fatigue is throughout the month. It just kind of helps me day by day manage my condition. And then we put the days of the week along the bottom just to help us keep track of what's going on. I need all the help I can get. So we're coming on to the calligraphy title now. And using that same Eddings Gold gel pen, I'm just going to write in the word trackers in my nice swirly copperplate font. So you'll probably see as the spreads go by. I started off, I think, for the December header, directly using a reference for the copperplate. And then I just started looking at capitals and the flourishes and just adding my own flourishes and stylizations to the lettering. And this is something that I wouldn't have been able to have done this about even 4 months ago. It's just come with a little bit of time and experience. So here I'm adding in some more of those stars. And now I'm a little bit faster because I know what I'm doing with these. I'm just counting up to get the proportions right, get that top third. And once we've got the framework in, we'll start filling them out. So yeah, I said at the beginning of this setup I really, really enjoy the month of December. I don't even mind that it's getting cold. I'm in the UK, so we have had some very cold weather recently. But I don't mind. You can just wrap up. It's fine. I'm looking forward to my birthday, as always. It is going to be a big one this year, so I'm very, very pleased. And of course, Christmas, I always enjoy. I never kind of grew out of loving Christmas, really. I love every part of it. So please do tell me down below, do you enjoy Christmas season or the holiday season, whatever you are celebrating, even if it's just having time off work? Let me know what you love about it. If you don't enjoy it, please do jump on in and tell us why. So back to the spread. I've added some more of that washi tape down to the bottom, and I'm adding more stars and sparkles, just filling in the spaces, making it look a little bit more jolly, getting more gold on the page. And yes, just like the previous spread, I was pleased with how this turned out. The paper didn't tear in the way that I initially wanted it to, but it kind of looks a little bit like a holly leaf, doesn't it, the way it's torn? So I'm not mad about it. So you can really see how shiny that gold pen is in that close-up. And then we're on to our third and final spread. And these pages are going to be my mood tracker and also my first weekly. And we're doing corners, opposite corners for decorations in the red tissue paper. And this is recycled tissue paper, by the way. I don't think I mentioned earlier. So some of my presents from last year were wrapped in this tissue paper. So it's got extra sentimentality. And that's why it's a little bit crumpled and creased as well. But again, I kind of like it looks lived in, you know, like it's post-present in both senses of the word. And I really enjoy that. So I'm just lettering in the word mood here. You can't see because my hand is in the way, but trust me, there it is. And then we're going to crack on with the mood tracker. So I've got these stars that you just saw. They have little expressions on their faces. So I'm going to use those to express my mood this month. And my idea was that I'll just draw nice big chunky chubby stars for each day of the month, and then every day I'll look on the sticker sheet and I'll find the sticker that matches my mood, the overall mood for the day, and then pop a sticker over the top. And I start off using the Eddings gel pen, and then very quickly realise that A, I want quite a thick line, and B, if I use this pen, it's going to take me forever. And also, like, you guys aren't going to want to sit through and watch me drawing 31 stars and filling in the outlines over and over again. So I switch to my Stars Metallic brush pen. These were from a set from Stationery Pal, I think. I'll check and see if they still have them. If they do, I will put a link down below. And I just retrace over the stars that I've already drawn, just to make sure that we're not going to get a difference in variation of the gold. It's pretty similar, to be honest. And then I can just crack on and freehand these stars. So although I am freehanding them here, I did have a little bit of a practice, and I worked out that if you draw a 5-pointed star, like a pentacle, in the normal way, so you start at one corner and then keep your pen on the page and keep drawing around until you get back to it, you use that as a little template and then draw your rounded star shape around that pentacle. So I did that in pencil first, and then I penciled around, and then I realised I wanted them in different places anyway, so I just rubbed it all out. But by then, because I'd done a little bit of unintentional practice, I could get these stars how I wanted them. I didn't want them to be exactly the same, because the star stickers, they're all kind of, it's like the points of the stars are like almost like the arms and the legs of each star. So they're in slightly different positions as they're doing things. So I knew I didn't just want like a cookie cutter exact replica of each star. I wanted them a bit of variety. So for the second half of my page, this is going to be where I'm going to be tracking my social media content. Shouldn't be as crazy as October. Doing the Inktober swatches was absolutely mental, and although I enjoyed them and I was able to do a few at once, so I wasn't having to edit videos every day, even just the pressure of posting every day was well hard. So December will be a lot more chill, but I have got some really fun and interesting videos to share with you guys. They just won't be 31 of them, thankfully. So I'm coming over to the other page now, and I'm just lettering in the initial for each day for my weeklies. And again, I think this one is in real time, just to give you an idea of how long it takes. And then we speed up. Here we go. And it's much faster. I wish I could do it this quick. But I think everybody takes their time with calligraphy. They say that, the slower you go, the better it is. My hands are quite shaky, so I think the slower I go, the more shaky things get. So I need to find a middle ground, I think. And while I'm finishing off the rest of these letters, let's have a little chat about our setups for next year. Who has started planning their setup for next year, or maybe you've even started setting up? I haven't started setting up, but I do know what journal I want to use, and I will be unboxing that journal very soon and sharing it on the channel. And I've got an idea of what I want to include in my setups, but I haven't made a distinctive plan. And what I will do is, before the end of the year, hopefully well before the end of the year, I'll use the back of this journal to plan out what I want to go into the new journal. And I'll do that by looking at this journal, looking at the very start, the first setup I did for the year, and then working out what I've used, what I haven't used, what's been useful, what hasn't been so useful, and anything that has been useful I'll carry forward for next year and maybe include some new things as well. So do you have a strategy for planning out your new journals? Or do you just go for it? Let me know. Here I'm just adding the number for each day beside each of those little stars. And I'm looking forward to using these stickers because they look really silly. So I think it's going to be really fun to look back. Every time I've used sticker reactions for my mood trackers, it's always ended up being really funny. So I don't think this is going to be an exception. So I'm using my fountain pen just to do these dashed lines to outline my weekly. And I feel that using a dashed line rather than using a solid line gives a more whimsical feel, and it makes the overall spread look more relaxed. I didn't want to use any harsh lines, like use any rulers in this spread. So I went with this dashed, well, it's dotted and dashed lines. And they worked out quite nicely. So I'm using the little hack here of lining your little finger up with the edge of the book and then sliding your hand along just to keep a straightish line. It's always a nice way of keeping your lines fairly straight if you're feeling a bit wobbly or shaky. I'm going to do the same thing to create a box for my social tracker, a social media tracker. I'm not 100% sure of how I want to use this tracker yet, so I'm not going to put too much detail on. I'm just doing a column to write the title of whatever video or post I'm sharing, and then I'm just going to leave it, and I can fill the rest in as I need it. So here I'm just lettering in the word tasks, and this will be my rolling task list, because I don't think I'll need this much space just for 1 week, but who knows. And I'm just using my swatch journal there to find a match for a pen to use for second line highlights. I'm going to use this green shade of Joule brush pen from Hobbycraft to do my second line highlights. But first I'll add another piece of that washi tape just to tie everything together in the spread. So as it doesn't fit perfectly, I'm going to use that torn edge method again, just to help trim it down a little bit give a little bit of space underneath that social media tracker box. There we go. With that done, I'll trim off any excess. Just getting into the corners. And then we'll finish off this tracker by doing a second line highlight with the green Joule brush pen, using the larger brush side. And again, I don't know if you can see, but I am using that little trick again of putting my finger against the edge of the book to give a straight line. So I lost a little bit of footage here. Sorry about that. But we did finish off just by doing a second line highlight on that side, and now we just have the flip through to enjoy all these spreads. So as I said before, really pleased with how these came out. They look nice and Christmassy without being too over the top or childish or jolly, more holly than jolly. And I love that the natural and botanicals vibe with the birds and the hares and the stars, of course. I'm really pleased. So thank you all so much if you made it to the end of the video. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. I hope you're all having a fantastic December. I'll see you next time. Bye.